morning, everyone. Hey guys, hope everyone's well. Let me know if my audio and video is okay. I'll just wait until a few of you comment and let me know that everything's looking and sounding okay. Yep, cool. All right. Let's get started. Why am I a bit low? Apologies, the sun's always going in and out. A bit too bright. Okay, there's already a few questions I noticed before I started the stream. I'll get to them. JW asked, sorry about my voice, I just woke up. JW asks, this is the crux of the relationship issue between men and women. It seems like one's woman only treats him affectionately when the man is up. When he's down, it inconveniences her. Thoughts? Yeah, human nature. Why do you think it's marriage was called holy matrimony? It's not called holy patrimony. It was to have a ceremony for a woman in front of God, in front of everybody, to publicly shame her if she should break the vows, like basically do everything publicly that so a woman wouldn't break the vows, you know, for sickness, health, richer, poorer. And basically, you stay and abide by the promises you're making. They're not just things you can change. So, yeah, female nature, unfortunately, it's just the way it is. Someone's bound to say, not all women. Yeah. There are some women that are different, but the majority of women have the reflex. Just like all women have hypergamy, it depends on how much they exercise it, how big it is in them, how they were raised. You could argue parts of their DNA susceptible to it. Similar to, there's a lot of people more susceptible to addiction and alcoholism if it's run in the family and things like that. Add to that, it's actually installed as part of your hardware as a woman. It's not like you don't have it. It's part of being a woman. It's how much you can civilize yourself away from it. It's a weird day today, guys. A lot of thick cloud, but in between the clouds, spots of sun. So like heavily in and out. But also natural sunlight gives you nice colors and lighting too. Remember, guys, if you'd like to ask a question, just so I can see it stand out in the feed more easily, make your question stand out. Put emojis before or after, things like that, or super chat them. You don't have to, but make sure they stand out. Otherwise, because there's a lot of people just commenting in the thread, which is fine, but for me to be able to see it. Yeah, this is a funny thing, like generally when you're strong and confident, a woman will like being around you and will quote unquote love you. But when you're not, that's when her kind of survival instincts get insecure for her own survival. Like, you know, this guy can't protect me. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But if she has a sense that tomorrow's going to be fine because this guy's super confident, I mean, it could be super arrogant. It's hard for her to always discern, I suppose. But the problem is then they kind of say, no, we want you to be weak too. Show us your vulnerability, start crying. It's not that you need to cry, but it's when you just want to show all sides of you. That's the tricky part with women. I always contend you should just show who you are, and if a woman doesn't like it, then good. At least you know you're not sort of with the fantasy. You're with the reality of a person that can take all sides of you. And I'm not talking the Marilyn Monroe side that women talk about. Like you can be a right idiot, but and treat a woman badly, and she still sticks around. I'm not talking about that. I mean, you show all your sides on the human spectrum. You know, highs, lows, happiness, sadness, all those kind of things. In the same way that you can show your friends and family and every other person that's important in your life, you should be able to show it to her too. And the guys that say, well, you can't, female nature. Well, better to be alone than with someone that you have to worry, oh, when, you know, my mother or father passes away, I better not cry in front of her or she's going to leave me and take the kids. I mean, you've got enough to go through when something like that happens without having to burden yourself also with the worry of putting on a mask, not grieving properly because Pumpkin's gonna think of you differently, and all of a sudden, I don't know, it's just stupid. A lot of people's anguish is putting on these masks in life for work or relationships or anything. Christopher asks, since men and women have different behaviors, why do we both seek validation but we do it in different ways, and how could we identify it before we dive into it and simp? Well, some of it comes with sort of how old you are. I mean, say before puberty, there were a lot of things as a kid that you ran around and expended a lot of energy in, and just things felt good. And you did them. Why is hang on. Okay, I'll do this. I'll overcompensate. Sorry. Yeah, but some of them, when you're younger, you can't tell someone who's inexperienced. They just have a lot of feelings, and if they feel good, they want to do it. Just like a kid will feel good about overeating chocolate cake, and like he'll do it until he gets a stomach ache, and then it kind of tells him, okay, I've experienced that. That's no good. You learn. Similarly with between men and women learn about men, often the hard way. And hopefully it's not too hard, as in a man doesn't get a woman pregnant accidentally and he doesn't want to be a father. He doesn't even like this woman. That's the tricky bit. But it's mostly nature. Once you recognize it, your behavior, and you recognize it's different between men and women, you recognize that, how I think of love and what I think of commitment, and I think that promises shouldn't be broken, or at least if you're going to, it needs to be in a more civil and honest way. Hopefully that's where luck comes in. Hopefully when you're naive and inexperienced, you haven't unwittingly picked an awful person, a really immoral person, a person who's the opposite in terms of your morality and how they want to treat you. Some guys have bad luck that way. But then some guys pick the worst people. You got guys that pick strippers and try to make them housewives. Basically, time and experience. But the more you can talk with sensible guys, educate yourself about the issues that sort of guys will face civilly, not in a scared, defensive way. The more you can kind of information-wise, knowledge-wise, and intellectually arm yourself when you're having discourse with people, when you're on dates, when you're going through that soup of life and experiencing those things, then you can see those red flags. Better you learn about red flags and then you can sort of see them when you experience them, rather than blindly going through them, going through mess and chaos and heartbreak and trauma, and then afterwards you come across guys in the manosphere and you go, oh yeah, that happened to me. Oh, now we can reflect on it. Much better, I suppose, you glean some sort of information and learn a little bit before it even happens to you. I think it's mostly nighttime for most of you guys, or afternoon, isn't it? Yeah, this is a problem. Paul said a good tactic for preventing gold diggers is just to not have any gold. Of course, that creates its own problems. That's right. You don't want to limit yourself. If you do want to go down a path that you find really interesting in and of itself, and it's a path that generates money and success, or you really want to start a business genuinely, not because you want status and to show off in front of people or to get women and all that kind of stuff. That's the hard thing. Like, do you stop yourself from enjoying life because you're so afraid? But I'd argue is just kind of go in the direction you really want to and then protect yourself. Andrew says, what am I supposed to do at age 23 and have no experience with women? I don't know. In some ways, guys will say you're lucky because you don't have the potential to be sort of, to be with an awful person. But then also, I would say the more you educate yourself sensibly, basically recognize what a good friend is and look for those qualities in a female, and don't be led by your hormones as much. It's hard, but that's the challenging thing for guys, which annoys me when women glibly say, well, just don't think with your DICK. Easy for you to say when you're not narcotically addicted to us. We're narcotically addicted to you as a woman. Even before we get to know you, your personality. If you've got a great personality on top of that, it's like cocaine on steroids. Just a woman's body is addictive to us. Her presence, a female. And then on top of that, she's a nice person too. Forget it. The gatekeeper for us is women's beauty. The gatekeeper for men, in a woman's eyes, is his status and money. His confidence, all that sort of... confidence maybe, but if there's nothing to show for his confidence, it's like neutral. Remember, a woman's status for relationships is, why should I go out with this man, or why should I sleep with this man? There's always the why. She's asking, there better be a good reason why I should give myself to this guy, whereas a man's is the opposite. Why shouldn't I? Most guys don't even ask that question because their impulse is wanting to be with women. And very few men go, hang on a minute, it's really easy for me to just jump into this woman like a soft sack of pillows. That's the perception. But, why should I really? It feels good. Ostensibly, there's nothing, I shouldn't be asking why. It's like someone handing you $1 million and saying, here you go. No questions asked. It's yours. Just take it. Have a great life. It's just a gift. And you're not saying anything. It's almost an irrational impulse. Why should I ask questions? Everything feels great. She wants to be with me. I want to be with her. Christopher says, human, can you ever see yourself getting into a relationship again? Sure, but unlikely the way I did before in terms of the frequency. Let's put it this way. Once I started dating in my very early 20s, I think I was about 21 or so, 22. Properly dating 20 to 22, somewhere there. Since then, I never really had much problem because I always approached, without even thinking about it, I always approached women like friends. I liked chatting to women. I found them attractive and so on and so forth. But I was never that discerning. I just thought, I just like the social aspect. I like dating. Like most guys, you love women, you love sex, affection, all that kind of stuff. But now it's gotten old, and you get older, and I don't want to take any backward steps in terms of wasting my time or someone else's. Things change too. The passing of my father as well changed me in a massive way. So perhaps, but I used to try and date. Now I don't try at all. So it's one of those things, if it kind of happens in my day-to-day, yeah, I was pursuing it much more before. I'm barely pursuing it at all. It's almost like I have to tell myself every now and then when I feel like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to talk to a woman, just to kind of do it in the same way a lot of guys or girls have to sort of push themselves, like, oh, I should go for a walk, I should exercise, I shouldn't eat that bag of chips, I should be healthy. It's in the same way I need to kind of will myself now to actually even open that door, whereas before it was narcotic. Now it's like I'm well and truly not addicted anymore, especially after Dad passed away. Everything changes. There's a saying, I can't remember exactly the saying, but something about changing forever who you are as a man when your father passes away, or you become the final man after the father passes, something along those lines. And I really noticed that shift, especially when it came to superficial stuff in life. And for the most part, the way I saw women in relationships was very superficial. Not that I wanted their bodies per se, but I superficially wanted the idea of a relationship and wanted to have that space in a certain way. And it was a really big fiction, and it was a lot of hope. Well, as long as they're like this and this, I can make it work out, and I just need to keep my eyes open. Now the color is well and truly kind of gone. So now I really value my family, my friends, my life, things like that. And yeah, life is pretty good, and I'm not going to F around with it anymore. And the major part of that is not effing around, is with women. And that doesn't mean, I'm looking for that special unicorn. It just means not effing around with women anymore. And with that mindset, it's unlikely. But yeah, look, I'm not averse to having a relationship. I'm just not chasing anymore. And this is what happens with men. I made a couple of recent videos. Women think men will always be chasing. They won't. Yeah, sure. Women also, they lose interest too. But guys think that women will be chasing them when we get older. We won't care if they're chasing or not, and they won't be. And women aren't chasing because they've been the celebrity for a couple of decades and were able to get relationships and goods and prizes and men and attention. And they're over it. They've done it. It's the same way we used to ride skateboards and we don't care anymore. Or we used to play a certain sport, and yeah, it's nice to watch now on TV, but I don't really care about it as passionately anymore. That's what happens. You move on to different stages in your life. Don says, it still amazes me how many men shame other men when they say they are done with the game of dating or chasing women. Have you noticed this? Yeah, just generally men shaming other men posturing. It's usually when you look at them acting tough and putting other men down, it's from the macho standpoint of I'm alpha and you're beta, you're nothing. I'm the lion, you're the sheep. And the posturing is like, look how great I am, I can get women, you can't, or you can't get laid. That's the posture when men shame other men. JW, what were you like in high school? Hobbies, interests, friends? What was that time period like for you? In high school, I was kind of in the middle. I was mainly with the nerds, and like friends that are more like me, which I still retain to this day, which I'm grateful for. But I got along with the jocks, but I didn't hang out with them. I got along with the super nerds, didn't hang out with them. I had a group of friends that was probably leaning more towards the nerds, but somewhere in the middle. So we played sport with each other, not with the jocks. We didn't chase the girls. Not much. Towards the end of high school, we did a little bit, but we probably chased the girls that weren't part of the upper echelon. They were sort of a step below or whatever. They weren't the cheerleaders. But hobbies of friends, it was pretty... Funnily enough, my hobbies, friends, and interests are almost the same as they were today. So I was into art and creativity, and we used to play basketball. Admittedly, I don't play that much anymore because of injuries, but I still go and have a pickup game every now and then with family and friends. My friends, I've still got them. So nothing much has changed. And in a little way, I'm proud of it. I've grown, I've matured, and I'm an adult. But one thing I'm happy about is all of us have pretty much stayed who we are, and I'm happy I've made those friends. So I haven't changed that much, and neither have my friends, in a good way. One or two of them, especially one of them, really lives in the past of the high school day. They always talk about those days. Fair enough. But majority of us, we haven't really changed, and I find there's a kind of comfort in that. It's strange. I'm just thinking about it now. There's a difference between someone not changing, as in if you're like a jock that's wearing, you know, super tight t-shirts and picking up chicks and that's your life, and you're an older guy now and you're still operating like that. That's sad. But if your character, you were genuinely yourself and you haven't changed, that's kind of refreshing. You tend to be more of an honest person, or at least you were raised better. You had more of a better sense of who you were, and your parents kind of let you know what's important or things like that. So I haven't changed that much. I'm rambling on my answers, aren't I? Concise human. Dynamite Robot says, women don't want to see all sides of you. They say they do, they don't. I've noticed this too, yeah. Be honest, be honest. When you're honest, they don't like it. Pretty Little Lies, that's what they want. Better to be alone than be someone we aren't. Yeah, true. Yeah, Dynamite Robot says, whenever a woman asks you how you feel, it's a psyop. They're probing you for weaknesses. Maybe not directly. Look, women aren't consciously kind of Machiavellian interrogators or anything like that. They're interested, but they're looking to be safe too. But part of it is like, let me honestly see, like, oh, okay, this is genuinely his vulnerability and weakness, I don't like that. It's a consequence of her trying to feel safe. Unfortunately, a lot of women aren't conscious enough to kind of know their boundaries in terms of what they do and don't like. Like, if I'm dating a woman, I don't ask her if she's dating other men, because she probably is. Like, I know myself and what'll annoy me about the other person. If we date and we get close and it's evident, and then you have the talk and you want to be exclusive, you want commitment, it's mutual, so and so. But women will kind of, their nature is constantly probing for safety, and a lot of the times they don't even want to know the answers to the questions. Quasiman Dice, how are you, man? He has a question. Well, this has been my take. Flaunting wealth is the worst of mating strategies because you get what you bait your hook with. That's a good point. You are better to be authentic and catch nothing. Agree. Yes, 100%. I used to overdo it. I've mentioned this before. When I was growing up and dating, I had this big thing about being real and honest, because that was drilled into us as kids growing up. And I remember seeing women weren't. My parents, my sister, my mother was. But very quickly, I saw that women out there that I liked, they said black when they meant white. There was this game playing. It was really evident. And guys would sort of, guys are taught, there's these puzzles, women are puzzles you got to figure out. They're these puzzles. You got to know one-liners. Like, how do you get a woman? It's always this mystery. And women keep shifting. And there's never, we've been around for millennia and we still can't figure women out, because they keep shifting goalposts and lying and not knowing themselves and going on their feelings and so forth. And I thought, okay, the best way to do it is downplay any material wealth I have. I used to call it turning up in the van, and my sister used to kind of really berate me. She said, "Oh, human, stop turning up in the van." Whenever I'd go on dates, I'd when we were growing up, we had the average family car, and my dad had this beaten up old van. It was awful, but I loved it. It was a great little 1 liter Suzuki Carry. Have a look them up. They're like a tiny toaster, and I look like a ridiculous big guy. I'm 6'2", and I look like a joke. And it sounded awful, and it sounded like it was falling apart, but it was a fun little van to drive. I used to turn up to dates in that. And mine was like, F it. If they like me, great. If they don't, at least I know she's a gold digger. At least I know where her values lie. Like, she's not interested in me and all. And so I overdid it. So in some sense, I'm not proud of not being genuine at that age, but I was young, right? I overdid wanting to find out if it was about me or about the window dressing around me, or what she thought was the window dressing around me. But in some ways it was a good instinct, because I wasn't aware of this stuff. I couldn't sort of piece these concepts together when I was young. I just had a feeling, and it seemed like the best way to be myself. Like, not worry about too much when I'm out on a date with a woman. Like, if I can sort of get rid of as much perceived unimportant things that I don't value in my life, like money and wealth, as in turning up with my dad's crappy van, then at least if she's fine with that, she doesn't even notice it or laughs at it with me not in a condescending way, but like she thinks it's cute or whatever. At least I know, in some sense, that I can let myself down, guard down a little bit with her at that age. I don't know. I wasn't thinking this way, but that was the instinct, I think. As I got older, it was more, I never, and even to this day, if I do date women, it's never presenting myself in a way that's not me. So I don't go out there dressed in 3-piece suits and sort of presenting myself as this polished Romeo, a jet setter, talking about sort of going out to restaurants and living the high life just to impress and saying things that she wants to hear. I don't do any of that because it's not me, and I don't want to have to live up to a false standard. I will always talk about not my finances, but I will downplay. Say like, yeah, I have a house, I've got a car, things that she can self-evidently see. Whenever I catch up with her, I catch up with her in the way I am. I won't dress like a bum, but I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of guy. Okay, if you're going somewhere nice, you might put on a sport jacket, but I'm not going to dress in a suit and tie because that's not me. So I'm myself, honestly, as much as possible, and I stay away from materialistically bragging, even if in some aspects I can. So, again, I'm so long-winded in my answers. Sorry, guys. But Quaz asked a pretty great question, and he provided a great solution. Whoa! Okay, big jump. Art says, with women, is it better to be well off with money, wise, and well, we all know if you have none. Women gold dig you free. Guys, I can't read. I can't understand some of the questions. Sorry, guys. I can't sit here trying to make sense of it. Grammar. Hello from Holland. Hello from Australia. Armored Ghost. Mount MGTOW. Hey man, how you going? Armored Ghost says, have you ever felt that a woman would suit you solely based on her looks? Now? No. I remember the shift happened around my early 30s, and I had, after having my heart broken twice in big ways, like long relationships in my 20s. And I think naturally, in your mid-30s, men and women, they start to sort of change hormonally and biologically. My attention started to go to more important things. My attention started to drift from women to the world, as I think it does with most guys. And experience. You've had a few heartbreaks. You've learned, hopefully. I've always had an inquisitive, curious mind. So I like tinkering with the ideas and finding out what works to go forward. I don't like just rinse and repeat. To me, it's stupid. I don't know how a lot of guys do that. Play Groundhog Day and get married 3 times. Anyway, have you ever felt that a woman would solely suit you based on her looks? Yeah, initially, every woman, like as soon as you meet her, is like, whoa, looks, great. She's the kind of woman I like the looks of. And I think there's a lot of biology in that. Because I like European women. Very, very much. Like I can recognize an attractive, not attractive is the wrong word. Attractive is something you're attracted to. I can recognize a beautiful woman, or a pretty woman, or a sexy woman, regardless of the hair color. She could be more Scandinavian, blonde hair, redhead, Asian, whatever. But what sort of makes me go, ooh, I want her? The biology wants her. This is someone I want to be intimate with, not just, pump and dump. Not just my hormones want her, but everything about me wants her. The lineage and the history of my biology and all that hard wiring wants her is more European women. So, for instance, my biology, let's say when we look at women, the women we see on screen, movie actresses, I don't know what they're like in real life. So just based on the characters they've played and how they act, the women I found attractive in terms of that would be the kind of woman I would date, just based on the character she played, would be people like Monica Bellucci, Salma Hayek, Jennifer Aniston. More the European girl next door, although some of them are fairly gorgeous girls next door. But I've never found the catwalk, cold-faced, blonde, platinum blonde look attractive. I thought, yeah, that's beautiful, that's pretty, objectively, but not for me. And that not for me is an important thing to realize, especially your tastes in women. And then on top of that, hopefully you got some values and ethics to support all that. But solely on looks, I think the looks come into it straight away. And once they're checked, hopefully the majority of the rest, whether or not they're suitable, is based not on looks, because you've checked it off the list. The looks are that first bit, like, yep, attractive, like them, tick. Now it's all the rest, you know. Adriano, he asks, why does the purple pill have such a bad rap? Again, I think it's these guys who posture and like making fun of other guys. Like, I'm not like that anymore. I'm not going to be hurt. So they're almost putting you down, or someone who is purple pilled. And purple pill, for most guys who don't know what it is like you're blue pilled, you're red pilled. Purple pill is the transition when you're learning. Your eyes are becoming wide open. It's Neo in the Matrix. Between the time he gets unplugged when he's learning kung fu, it's that. I think I don't like it because the purple pill is in some ways a really important. It is an important moment, a liberating moment where you start seeing, finally, hopefully. Boots Void. Can you recommend some literature to heal from childhood trauma caused by a controlling and emotionally abusive mother? Literature, I'm not sure directly in terms of a controlling, abusive mother. There's lots of literature. Generally, you can start to piece yourself together in terms of masculinity and who you are as a guy, and then connect, like others because of this, and my relationship with my family, my father, my mother, siblings, and so forth. Particularly about mothers, online, I would listen and watch people like Richard Grannon and Sam Vaknin. Those guys are pretty astute. I like them. JW, ever seen the movie Gone Girl? I think everyone has. Super Red Pill, yep. The girl I watched it with called it very feminine. Interesting considering the female lead is a psychopathic character. I'd say it's the worst. The parts of female nature that some women have much more than others. Look, everyone pushed to the limits will act in the worst ways according to their nature. Even the nicest guy, you threaten his kids, an animal will come out and want to destroy the person that's threatening their kids. Similarly, when a woman's security is threatened, there are certain things that come out of a woman. Norman Mailer said it. There are 3 stages by which you know your woman. The first is the affair. The second is the marriage, the mother, the wife. And the third, by which you can never know a woman, is the divorce. Walt, because purple pill is compromising. Not necessarily. If you stay in purple pill, if you try and sit on the fence and have your cake and eat it too, but I'm talking in terms of purple pill, like doing your best to learn things and trying to get to your own red pill. Mountain MGTOW says, I'd consider Gone Girl quite masculine, actually. Yeah, like when you're watching the guy, a lot of guys will like see the average guy in that guy. I remember, I think I mentioned this in a video once or in a stream, where I watched it for the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th time a couple of years ago with my sister and my brother-in-law. And at the end of it, my brother-in-law and I were amazed, and see if you guys can relate to this as well. We watched it, you know, the final scene where he takes her back, she's lied, he finally realized she's a sociopath. And my sister says something about, oh, he's going to take her back. And we said, yeah. And then she said something that made us realize, me and my brother-in-law, we didn't even notice Ben Affleck very much. We noticed her. We noticed the psychopath, the woman. Ben Affleck was the main character throughout the whole movie, really, objectively, when you look at it. We paid so much attention to her because of the dint of our heterosexuality, that at the end, my sister, because of her heterosexuality, she noticed the sociopath, the female, fine, but she was paying attention to the man mostly Ben Affleck. And when she was talking about him, she was saying things like, and I was turning to my brother-in-law saying, have you noticed we barely noticed Ben Affleck in this movie? We were like, we're just like protecting ourselves from this psychopath in this movie and saying, yeah, we recognize those traits from a woman. That was a surprising thing. And in that, the discussion I had was like, what does it say about me that Ben Affleck was almost invisible to me in the movie? And what does that say about my old patterns of reflecting on these sociopaths in my past? I was invisible to myself as well. Like that degree to which I didn't see Ben Affleck. Yeah, fair enough. You're looking at the danger, the woman, but that was really interesting. That was something that clicked with me. I barely realized anything about Ben Affleck, like his morals, his decisions. Yeah, obviously, like he married someone that was a nutcase. But that was really, really interesting to me. The degree to which Ben Affleck was invisible to me, almost, and how prominent she was. But she was showing herself to be that, and was like, whoa, whoa, look at this monster. Mr. Highway, thank you very much for your donation, man. I really appreciate it. His comment is, hypermasculine stoic masks men wear in relationships are exhausting. Yes. Everything you experience must be filtered through and is this manly lens. I agree. I can't stand it, man. It's like the liberating thing that I think guys who come to the red pill side of the manosphere, and I don't even starting to like the term red pill, because again, it's starting to sort of be co-opted with a lot of rubbish too. But just that sort of that side of things is the freedom associated with being red pilled. That's the attraction to it. So having to put on a mask like anti-freedom, where a lot of guys are like, oh, the freedom I discover in the manosphere is game. And so this is how to get women. I put on another thing that's anti-freedom, like a mask of stoicism and a mask of do this two-step, like a dance to get women. You know, the red pill's going to teach me this dance, you know, 2 steps left, 1 step right kind of thing that will get me a woman. No, it's like no steps, no mask. It's just you. And the liberating thing is like, if they don't like it, bad luck. Because I'm sure women would like to be accepted for who they generally are. They don't want to have to wear push-up bras and do all this kind of stuff. You hear women's frustrations. Well, guess what? Men have similar frustrations in other areas. We don't want to be fake anymore. I think as you get older, you just don't want to be fake. You realize time's slipping away. You realize what genuine friendship and affection is. You know what real trust looks like compared to the train wreck of relationships where men and women lied and played these stupid games. So yeah, that stoic mask, Mr. Highway. Yeah, everything seems to have to be filtered through this, is this manly lens. Other guys can put you down and saying, oh, stop being a wimp. Or women will convey that. So everything's look manly, look like an alpha for women. And so you don't get ridiculed by men, so they respect you. Oh, you're a man that looks like he can get women. Okay, we can't ridicule you anymore. It's pretty pathetic as you get older. All right, let's fly down some of these questions. I usually have I've got a few comments from a couple of my last videos that I flash on screen and talk about if there aren't any questions in the stream, but you guys have a lot of questions. So, good. Remember to highlight your questions if you have any with emojis, gentlemen. Peter, he says, get to know your enemy. I wouldn't think that way, because you're going to do yourself a lot of damage. If you lock into your mind over and over again, you cook into your mind that women are the enemy, women are the enemy, women are the enemy, then you're going to have an awful relationship in your own mind. You're going to want the enemy. Think about that. That can kind of really F you up long term. You're attracted to what's bad for you. You're not attracted, you're not looking for a friend or someone who's good. You consider them the enemy right out of the gates, and nothing can shift that. So you never kind of present the open and honest you do to your friends. And wouldn't you rather be, if you're going to be with women, if you want to have a relationship with women, wouldn't you rather be that person you are with your family and friends? That's why I'm saying, like, be that person right off the bat. She doesn't like it, good, hit the road. It's hard enough between men and women's nature without, on top of that, putting on stoic masks and acting a certain way and being alpha and doing this two-step. Don't look at women as the enemy, guys, for your own sake. They're different. They're very different. But it's a bit too reductionist to see them as the enemy. They're just what they are. They're women. Real name's not given. If we didn't think with our D, then she wouldn't be on our mind. Yeah, I think there was a great comment a few streams ago. No, actually, it was in a comment under one of the videos. It was about equality, how they keep pushing equality. And he said, if men and women were equal, why the hell do I need hormones then? Or was it, if men and women are if women are so great, why do I need hormones? Krista, the focus on relationships should be deep friendship, not the tingles women often want. Yes, I agree. But women have to, there's a lot of self-reflection women have to do. I'm glad men are doing it for their own sake more and more these days, in the ways we're trying to discuss things and share information, have discussions. Because, like, you can't rely on women to get enlightened. They're not going to do it before men. Not going to happen, especially in today's environment. Mountain MGTOW. If a woman doesn't benefit me, there is no relationship. Yeah. Like I said now about would I date now, I don't chase it because I value what I have. I'm not taking backward steps. Life and age is already taking away from me slowly. I don't need a woman to take 10 years or 20 years off my life and make me ashamed of things. So if she's not going to add, or not going to, basically, it's more not going to fit in. We both fit in. I'm not going to accommodate her. I'm not going to adjust my life in a major way because she's so different and I need to, because I don't want to be alone. No. She's either going to be someone who's into the same things, who fits in my life and likewise, but I'm not going to adjust. There is no compromise. There's give and take. There's like people. And if I don't find anyone that's like-minded, great. I'd rather be on my own because I've got great people in my life. If she's not another great, effortless person, then I don't need them, just like anyone else. Ivan asks, just about to divorce my wife. Oh, sorry, man. But at the moment, I feel a lot of pain thinking about her. That's natural. The relationship's meaningful. Should I wait these crap feelings to go slowly away or just try to replace them with new ones right away? As in a new person? It won't work. You'll make yourself feel awful, especially if it's a meaningful relationship like a wife. It's one of these things, unfortunately, it's cliche, you got to eat it. Be around friends and family, good people, and it's like a wound, it's just got to heal. Time will take care of it. Don't look at stuff that's going to open the wound. Don't listen to love songs to make you kind of feel something, because it's this subconscious way of connecting you back to her in an emotional way. Don't hate, don't whatever. Just don't toxify yourself, either in depressive romanticism, in listening to love songs, or anger. Yeah, you probably need to vent, but vent to your friends. Vent to people who are have your back. Don't consume toxic online content. It'll just make you worse. Okay, I'm going to scroll down the feed. General Veers, thank you for the donation. Human, he says, I was raised by my grandparents who went through World War II and their parents through Great Depression. They were married for 50 years and dated 2 weeks. We need an event to remind people how important family and friends are. Yeah, those old times aren't coming back, are they? Unless the world adjusts, men and women won't adjust their relationship, because the world is pushing men and women to be independent because you can exploit independent people financially and control them much better. When men and women rely on each other, then on top of that, you've got community that bands together on top of family. The strength of groups uniform under, one banner of what they believe is important is stronger. But if you break people apart into individuals who dislike each other, like is happening today, you as an individual, you're ineffective to the Goliath of the government and Big Brother. Like me as an individual, I can't do anything. All I can do is take care of my life the best I can, and they can get taxes now from everyone, not just the you don't just have one person working in a family. Now they can tax you, your wife, the man, the woman, the children, whoever. They can tax everybody. It's not going back, but there'll be an adjustment. So this modern era is a big teething process. I would have the part of me that that would have liked to have had a relationship would have liked to have been born a couple of generations ago. But then again, then you got wars and things like that too. So it's not all sunshine and roses. Look, modernity is better, but the psychological toll between men and women relationships and the fear, that I think is a lot worse today. How are the colours today? E-Rock, thank you very much for the super chat donation and the basketball symbol. Prince Revolver, thank you for the donation. Patrice O'Neill, he says, Patrice O'Neill said it best. Men want to be alone, but we don't want to be by ourselves. At 31 with a girlfriend, I've become indifferent to relationships. Yeah, guys, make your comments stand out somehow with symbols, emojis, or whatever. Kick him in the kanga. G'day, mate. He asks, Human, do you play any instruments? No, I make music, but I don't actually play any instruments per se. I think the last instrument I played was in primary school. The recorder. I think everyone had to do that. If I had to learn an instrument, I think I'd want to learn either piano or guitar. Probably piano first. I like piano for some reason. Krista, any advice for men who want kids? Should men vet for good genes and qualities instead of women who they potentially can have a good relationship with? Oh, they kind of both go hand in hand, don't they? I think you're naturally attracted to who you're attracted to. You don't kind of go, well, good genes for a family. Like if there's things physically wrong with her. That's why guys don't generally get attracted to overweight women. Bad genes. And bad genes, not just in terms of she's overweight now, but the lack of discipline to stop putting food in your mouth. What are those genes that might get into the potential kid you have with them? Another kid that's out of control, that doesn't listen to you, can't discipline themselves. So there's a lot of natural stuff that gets sorted out just by physically finding someone you're attracted to. Like I said before, I kind of know my type physically, and then also you know your type morally and ethically too. And that plays into how you were raised, and you actually self-reflect and know what your values and virtues are. All that goes hand in hand. Southern Soul, women fall in love with the lies they hear, and men fall in love with the lies they see. Maybe. Not again. It's kind of like, are they lies, or do you want to see them? Are you staying quiet, not asking questions, and then believing the fantasy of what you make up in front of you, and excusing the things that are red warning signs too? Make your questions stand out, guys. Remember. T-Mac 473. Are the golden days of MGTOW over? I think so. Won't it be forgotten and lost as other cultures reproduce faster than Westerners? Yeah, I don't know what that's got to do with MGTOW though. Armored Ghost. It's impossible to figure out that which cannot be figured out. Yeah, I think I mentioned it with my chat with Quasimandias once, that as with progress, you've got philosophers figuring a lot of things out, and men understanding life, but with women, Schopenhauer and just a lot of people, the one thing that men still can't figure out is women. Women just keep changing and shifting goalposts, and wanting A one day, then wanting B the other day. So there's no concrete figuring them out, whereas men kind of don't really shift that much. If they like this, they tend to like it always, or they remember they liked it yesterday, so they adhere to that. Oh yeah, I did. I like that. Yep, that's true. Like I said, the sun's the sun. The things don't change, but women are ever changing for the most part. Yeah, a lot of you people will say don't generalize. This is the other thing that's been annoying me lately. I've had a few women in the comments section, and their response to my video is, you're generalizing. Stop generalizing. You're stupid because you're generalizing. You're dangerous because you're generalizing. This response, as though generalizing is wrong and they've won the argument, is just ridiculous. Like, you don't mind them generalizing with your beauty advertising where they put a young woman on there. Why don't they put, an ugly woman on there? They're generalizing. There are ugly women too. Generalizing. If I say it's hot in summer, am I generalizing for the cold days? It's just pathetic. Like, that response to me is so low IQ, childish, and they think they've won it. Like, you're wrong because you're generalizing. No, I didn't talk about a specific person. Of course I'm generalizing. If I talk about a broad thing, I'm talking about the general broad thing. And everyone can agree that it tends to act a certain way. When we watch documentaries on wildlife, we have no problem saying the male bird does this and the female bird does this, and there's patterns involved. But all of a sudden, when you talk about patterns to do with women that we can all generally agree upon, if we're honest, we're not saying you're like this, in the same way I can agree with patterns to do with men. What men tend to like, they might be sexually driven, men like cars, like all these stuff I can't deny. I'll say, yeah, generally, yeah, you're right. Yep, true statement. Me, if you're asking me, Okay, I'll tell you how I differ. So this reflex to go, you're wrong because you're generalizing. It's just so dumb. How are you supposed to understand the world if I have to address every specific person? Like, oh, let me ask Jane, let me ask Sue, let me ask Nancy, let me ask Claire, and it keep going on in an endless concatenation of asking individual people and never collecting the data to describe a trend. Like, so if I'm generalizing, then I wouldn't know how to generally treat a woman when I go out on a date. Generally, women like to be paid for. Generally, women like compliments. Generally, women want to be treated a certain way. So women will like those generalizations. Oh, you should know how to treat a woman. No, that's a generalization. So it's just my biggest bugbear lately. Ladies, feel free to comment, but please don't be childish and say you're generalizing, so you're wrong. Generalizations, marketing use generalizations all the time to a great effect because they generally know what women respond to. It works. The outliers don't matter. If you're an outlier, great, it matters to you. I've got a lot of outliers to me. I know who I am. I don't fit neatly into what all men like in certain respects. In other respects, I'm a typical male. Anyway, just something I wanted to get off my chest. Just been annoying me lately. And you know what women's response will be? Ooh, touch the nerve with human. Must be right then. LOL. You can't deal with these children. They just kind of... Okay. General Veers, thank you very much for the donation. Whoa, it jumped. Where are we? Whoa, it jumped a fair bit, guys. So I've lost a few comments and super chats, I think. Really sorry. It'll only allow me to go up to now the next question, which is from Armored Ghost. When a girl acts hysterical to the point of willing to fight a policeman, does that mean it's been too long since she had good sex? No. I think that means you don't go out with her anymore when she wants to fight a policeman. Okay. Yeah, smash the likes, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all that stuff that helps out the channel. Hey, Spetsnaz. How you going, man? Thanks for dropping in. It's funny how people think we're the same person. I think it's more people who aren't from this region of the world, like Australia, New Zealand, even to some degrees England. I don't think that Australians and New Zealanders sound that similar, but apparently we do. Maybe it's the sort of the tone of our voice, maybe. Hello and welcome. Quasimendias asks, women are not the enemy, they are the way we avoid confronting the enemy. Agree. They are the way we avoid confronting the enemy. As in, civilizing ourselves or knowing ourselves to the degree that we can recognize what the enemy is, and women are a good calibrating factor. Do you mean that? Or, hang on, women are not the enemy. They are the way we avoid confronting the enemy. Oh, as in when we just go with biology. We just, we don't think. Interesting question. Could go a lot of ways with that. Yeah. The easy biological response is just to fall into the soft pillow of women. But you're avoiding the conscious, liberating, freedom-based, red pill-based, philosophical, liberating kind of the answers that have been plaguing you as a guy or frustrating you. Yeah, a lot of guys avoid the enemy in a figuratively broad sense by being anesthetized by women. Yeah, it's a lot of ways to think about that. Good comment there. Make a video on it. Quaz, that'd be a good one. Expand on that one. I think there's a lot of meat in that. All right, come on, let's go. James, do you think that some sort of return to the old-fashioned 1950s style of relationships values may ever return? No. Or is the genie too far out of the lamp? Yes. CK, do you have a cold? No, I don't. You guys are the first guys I've talked to this morning. So basically set the alarm, wake up, have half an hour before the stream and I start, so. Also, the microphone probably makes me sound a little bit more radio-ish than my natural voice. Just that I put a slight flourish on the audio. Basically, there's a bit of compression on the audio. So the levels are as high and clear as they can be for the stream. George says, Human, it seems more and more sense is being turned into nonsense through the changing, the distortion, and the replacement of meanings of words which used to make sense of the world. Thoughts? Yes, I agree. Controlling us by sophistry and gaslighting and media and advertising, and up means down and yes means no and everything's vague and nothing means nothing and there's 45 different genders and everything. There's no foundations to everything. Everything's moving. Again, very feminine. It's not a masculine world out there anymore. And men can only operate in a masculine world, so best to formulate that for your own world. Like, if start from your own bubble, outward. If outward, people don't sort of gel, and if they're not simpatico with that more realistic view where you can have foundations, then don't associate with them. You don't have to be part of the system, guys. You have to be part of your system, though, and you have to be interested enough to create it, or you'll go insane. Nils, how to detect a spiritual activist in early stages? It is possible to have someone form that crap. Yeah, yeah, if I read you correctly. Thanks, Genuine V's, for the super chat. Yeah, there's a lot of women today, they pass off intelligence for bullcrap spirituality. They'll talk about the universe and the secret. Quasimandias did a couple of videos ago about women who sort of, they talk about that. And if you haven't experienced those women, I'd say a lot of guys mistake that for depth and intelligence. and openness and stuff. And there is a sense of openness. They're trying to find answers, albeit in a very superficial, materialistic way. So be very, very wary of spiritualistic women. When you talk to them, pay attention to whether it's more philosophically inclined or more crystals, woo-woo, vision, quest, crap, rubbish, where, if it's more that. If it's more that, they're dangerous individuals. Very, very dangerous, because they don't take responsibility. They blame the universe for it. It's not my fault, it's the universe's. But if they actually do something great, they'll be proud of themselves and they'll let you know about it. I told you I think I've said this mentioned this story a few times, but I'll mention it again for those people who are listening to this for the first time. A while ago, I remember I went out on one date too many, where I, chatting to this person, they wrote really well. You could tell they were intelligent, which she was, but she was loopy. I didn't know that until I talked to her face to face. So, the way people present themselves online, the way they write, they can curate and present it's much easier for them to fool you. But face to face in real time, having to sort of communicate with your real time, alive language that you're processing as you speak and think, that can reveal a lot, because you haven't got time to edit, or as fast as you can when you're curating online. And I remember I went out with this spiritual, centered, open, wise woman, and she was fine. But then I discovered that she was a really woo-woo kind of nut job. There's a lot of them in midlife. There's a lot of women my age that are into therapy, and they're psychologists and so forth. I think a lot of them are working out their own issues. That's why they're in that field. And anyway, she said she worked in an office for some big tycoon CEO. She was his personal assistant, and she said how awful she was and how he caused a lot of women to just quit because of his attitude. He was an awful tyrant. And she was proud of saying how she didn't take any of his crap. And my first question was, well, why do you stay in that environment? Why don't you just leave? And her answer was, I didn't choose the job. The universe put me there. And I thought, okay, this date's gonna be the only one we go on, because you can just see this person, like, however emotionally she might act in the future, she could do something where she doesn't want to take responsibility, and it'll never be her fault. The universe did it. She didn't do it. So be wary of these woo-woo, spiritually sort of crystal-based, psychic-based. Stay away from them, guys. Just stay away. But that's why it's important to develop your own more masculine, stoically based philosophy that's grounded in reality. Then when you talk to someone that doesn't speak that language, that isn't connected to reality, you can go like, yeah, I can see this isn't my language. On the surface, the colors seem the same, but when you get up close, they look completely different. The if you want to call it, the blue pill guy cannot tell the difference very much. It's not me putting blue pill guys down. It's you haven't forensically looked into this stuff and what it means to be. Stoicism and woo-woo spirituality can look the same to the uneducated person. Sam, do you think men suffer more when a relationship ends? Women seem to move on fast. It seems that way. It really does. Just by the sheer fact that most guys who were in love with someone, it takes them about 6 months to a year to even be open to dating properly again. I'm not talking about just hooking up and, distracting yourself with sex. It's really being open to, I want to get into a deep relationship again. The scars from a man healing take longer. So when women say they feel more, it's happened to me twice, where the person I was in love with, in a relationship with, and this was like a multi-year relationship. We broke up. I see them on the arms of another boyfriend, and they tell me it's another boyfriend, it's like, oh, human, I'd like you to meet so and so. If I bumped into an ex like that, and we were together for 2 years or 2.5 years, and it was only a couple of months after we'd broken up. Women are different to men. Again, they're not the enemy, they're just different. The problem with men is we go in with rose-colored glasses, and society, romanticism, and women themselves, everything is telling you, no, we are like that. You know, we are the romantic ideal. Your mothers tell you like that. You want to believe it because you love your mothers too. Just everything. Everything is telling you, don't be an a-hole and think they can be any different. Why would you think your loving mother could be any different? Like, it takes a lot to kind of go, my mother's a woman too. General V's, thank you for the donation. He says, my grandmother was taller than my grandfather and she had an education. Older times as well. I don't know, like, you need to look at the context of it. I mean, some people might just have a fetish for certain things that's out of the norm. Generally, women like men that are taller than them. But there are some women that like short men. There are. But I think they're the anomaly. In the same way, I'm not a big fan of classically beautiful women in terms of like catwalk models, like perfect face, the small nose and everything. I really like big noses on women. That's just me. I find the old Gregorian kind of look appealing. I find the European features appealing, not the neotenous little girly. Like, I've never found that really attractive. Nothing that really gets me. So everyone's got their predilections. Don't forget that. There is the norm, but then there's also that. So yeah, there are some intelligent, highly educated women who don't exercise their hypergamy as much as others. Like, it's not a one size fits all. That's the safety we need to get our minds over. You can't sort of develop a one size fits all philosophy that it's exactly the same across all guys' belief and how we respond to women, and everyone will get a perfect relationship. You've got to adjust it according to you. You've got to adjust it according to the woman that's in front of you, or the boss that's in front of you. You have to, I don't want to say do the work, but you have to do the thinking. Grey Walker, feminism is the fault of men. We made life easy enough to make women think they don't need us. In some ways, yeah, but the men at the top, the guys in suits who don't care, who don't have much empathy, they're the ones that poured kerosene in the fire more than the average man. The average man, I don't think, did, but the average man isn't part of that sort of scheme. And he's just trying to get on with his life. I think it just slowly progressed. It didn't happen overnight, but yeah, men were largely responsible for allowing it. But I don't like it when they say, well, it was all men's fault. No. We just gave women what they wanted. And you see what happens when women get what they want. Most of them can't handle the responsibility of it. And is it okay to have a new girlfriend after you broke up with your ex? Again, guys, like, it's part of kind of, you got to figure out when's the right time for you, or if you want a girlfriend at all. Okay. There's Public Poet says there's a lot of women these days that are overweight and think they're God's gift to women, though. God's gift to men, though. Yeah. Southern Soul. Psychology suggests guitar players are more somatic while piano players are more cerebral. The kind of they're both kind of the reason I don't mind both, but I gravitate towards piano. It's like on the surface they're both kind of the sounds are made by the sounds coming from string. So I know when I create music, I lay down basic chords mostly with piano, but I can do it as easily with guitar. Although guitar adds a little bit more of a flourish. Piano is very basic, but also I think the piano is the most basic form of hitting notes, and I really like that purity. But I find that depending on the guitar, the guitar notes and guitar type, I'm trying to sort of lay down chords down and sounds. You can do similar things with both piano and guitar in terms of like music progression. Armored Ghost, when was the last time you visited a public library? A few months before Corona. So it was like probably this time last year. Spetsnaz says, is Google male or female? Female, because it doesn't let you finish a sentence before making a suggestion. Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard that. It was a great meme that was passed around. It was a screenshot of a comment section where a guy said, women always think men are wrong. And then the woman's comment underneath was, that's not true. Remember, guys, highlight your questions with emojis. George says, it seems more and more sense is being turned into Yeah, I think I've answered this. I understand you guys sometimes repeat questions because the feed jumps and I don't get to see them, so not your fault. It's just me sometimes repeating questions that I didn't get to and you guys have said them again. David says, with regards to relationships, how do you know when you are being rational or rationalizing? It's when you notice something and in your head, I think it's without asking, without talking to them about it, you make up your own fictional answer with the best case scenario in your head. I think that's what commonly happens. Krista, why do you think women watch red pill content? Is it to understand men better, or do you think it is to understand themselves better? I'm not sure. All I know is women always like to go into men's spaces. In the past, smoking lounges. They're very curious about men. What are men doing? What are they talking about? I don't know why women do. There are some women who are genuinely interested in the philosophical and aspects and questions that guys are talking about, like in terms of understanding. There have been some women in the comments who have either married and they're trying to look at it from their husband's point of view. Some have said their husband watches my content and they watch it as well, and they appreciate what I'm saying, reflecting what he's trying to get to with her, and now she's finally, in a total sense, understanding where men are coming from. So it varies. I don't know. Yeah, Paul says, generalizations are what human brains do best. We're pattern recognition machines. That's the way we work. And so the generalized pattern is the way we understand things. Good point. I've got to remember that. Okay. General Veers, thank you for the donation. He says, comment on the post-traumatic societies like bubonic plague Europe. I don't know much about the post-traumatic societies of them, other than after like big traumas like World War II, large plagues, people revert back to more the basic animal principles of survival, where men and women need to cooperate and know their place much better because there's no room to entertain things. Like recently, I've noticed in a small way, society's not entertaining the SJWs as much as they were in 2019. There are more pressing things afoot now. People's fear of, pestilence and being isolated and things like that. So I'd imagine that the trauma afterwards of the bubonic plague is getting over and healing the wounds of, all the people that died and, trying to survive with the people that are left. Sorry, I don't know too much. That's a question for Stardust. He'd know a lot about that. Mr. Highway, thank you for the super chat. Whoa, big jump there. Human 2020. Yeah, I say that often, don't I? I need to get through the questions quicker, but when I want to answer something, like I feel like I want to answer questions, especially a super chat, like with enough meat, I don't want to feel like I ignore it. But then again, we've got 400 people on, so I don't want to not give people value for money for their questions either, and the time. Alpha Male says the PUA community is a threat to the very existence of MGTOW. Would you agree? Not really. They're just trying to sort of get women. I don't think if you're a man who's deciding his own way, they're no more a threat than women, in the sense that you can just not be around them, or you can associate with the people that are more in line with your values. I don't think they're a threat. There are some PUA. There are some guys who are more in the PUA side that I could see myself having a conversation with. I don't know how much we'd have in common, but they seem like cool guys. There are other guys I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Not because I have anything against them, just because they're just not my kind of person. I like having conversations with people I feel like I can trust. Take a look at the conversations I've had with guys, recorded chats. All of these guys, I'm pretty confident I could trust them, and you could see with their personality. You look at Spetsnaz and Quasimandias, all these people, I think I could quite confidently catch up with them face to face. I would have no problem trusting them like I would a friend. There's a lot of these guys, the PUA business types, that just by their personality, sometimes you think, man, I don't know if you have any friends, or your friends, I don't think they could really trust you. Could be wrong, but yeah, PUA is not a threat. I think PUA has its place, but it kind of, a lot of the PUA stuff pretends to be sort of enlightened philosophy about sort of male stoicism and more red pill leaning stuff, where it's not. It's just game. And they insert red pill to the degree to which it can help them posture as males and get females. Dynamite Rabbit says, Spetsnaz had me fooled. I could have sworn you were human too. I don't know if you guys are joking or not. Come on. Listen to the way we speak. Spetsnaz has actually got a clearer voice than me. I've got a bit of a lisp. And he's got a New Zealand inflection. I don't. Look, I can appreciate someone from the other side of the planet on the surface listening, maybe. on their phone, maybe. We sound very similar. I wonder if people who are listening to me and Spetsnaz talk thought that we were just talking to ourselves. I'm a psycho that's just talking to the voice in my own head. What do you think, Spetsnaz? Oh, that's a good question, human. JW, have you ever struggled with depression? Not clinical depression, though. Anxiety or existential dread. Existential dread to various degrees, maybe? If so, how do you handle it? If not, why do you reckon you avoided it? I think a lot of it's to do with, my DNA upbringing, just the things I'm lucky enough to have wired internally. My intellectual curiosity, like when times are good, like now, I still dive into wanting to figure things out, and they serve me well in times of stress because that's been exercised. My natural inclination is to work things out. So that helps. But I've never been, for people that I've talked to that have had clinical depression and things of that nature, like I'm nowhere near that objectively, the way they describe it and what they go through. Mine is just like extreme sadness or heartbreak or things like that. And in those moments, I can kind of really appreciate to the best I can what some of these guys that are far worse than me go through. Abe, still no one has told me one benefit of marriage for a man. Not one. About one I could think of in terms of me. What I appreciate is having the touch and smell of a woman around. There's one. General Veers, thank you for the super chat. He says, reduce global male population by 75%. Yeah, then you'll get men and women treating each other well. Just like after World War II, that's why women all of a sudden became Stepford wives, because there weren't very many men on the planet to choose from. Women were competing, and then women started thinking, well, the best chance I've got is to be a nice person and treat men well and cooperate and have differentiated roles where he feels good in his and I feel good in mine, and we're not competing. Now it's not that case. Mark's old Stafia. Human, how old are you? 49. Sam, I find women tend to monkey branch primarily in workplaces. What do you think about this? Well, the environment to monkey branch now has been opened. When you were, say, married or you had a smaller community, you had nowhere to monkey branch to, and if you did, you'd be ostracized because everyone knew about it. Now that you go to a workplace where you're kind of hidden from your direct social group, you can do that. And even more so now you've got apps where you can hook up with a person across town that doesn't know you and is not part of your social group. So the more women can covertly have these other relationships and monkey branch, the environment's allowed women to do this as well. CK, is human married? No. No. Do you watch my channel at all? General V's, thank you for the donation. He says, events and technologies make the human monkey. Perhaps. Eric, do you think that all women are gold-digging prostitutes? because they only love material goods. No, women have that, I said, survival instinct, you know, they want to be safe. And so that, if you want to call it, working girl aspect comes out, where she will sleep with you if she feels safe and you have resources and you've got status and all that kind of stuff. So it's a primal thing. But it's a bit too glib and safe to kind of cast women as all women are the extreme. And all women are the, like, living life in a binary way. Like, your particular joy of life comes from your particular grey area in the middle. Like the things you like, the people you meet. You can't just find any friends. You've got to find particular friends that match you in your life. And as such, we need to get over we need to be smarter when we're picking mates. If you choose to date women, you've got to pick particular things too. You can't just say, well, I want to be safe. You wouldn't say, I'm not going to have any friends because I don't want to be backstabbed by any friends. You're a bit more, you have your eyes open. You're a bit more awake. You don't have your eyes closed. So men, if they do still like women and want to be around them, they need to sort of pick them in the same way. And the best way is to use your prefrontal cortex as much as possible instead of your limbic system. EOS Log says, Human, your generalization rant reminds me of people's general women popularity remarks on what people say, claiming, look how many dislikes you've got, clearly you're in the wrong. Yeah. They don't want to look at the details of why. It's like when they say, 3 out of every 4 women experience domestic violence, and they don't want to look at what constitutes domestic violence. Like, on the surface, there's a lot of sophistry going around, and there's a lot of easy cause and effect. Correlation isn't causation. That's the word. That's the phrase. Nathan, with the idea of the romantic ideal, are we expecting too much from women, or are they not capable? I think we're expecting too much from women. Men are the romantic ones, but not women. We just believe the hype, and they keep sort of pushing the hype because it works. Because we believe it. We want to believe it. Our hormones want to believe it. Oscar says, this is getting weird. How? General Veers, thanks for the super chat. Let's dance, human. What does that mean? Six Damra. Hey human, your content has helped me out a lot. My last relationship, which lasted 3 years, ended in good terms, but even after 5 months, it's hard to move on. Yeah. Takes a long time for men to move on. Some women too. Whenever I kind of hear a woman that says that, like, it took me years to sort of start dating again, I usually can kind of go, yeah, okay, that's what I see as someone who really cared about another person. But when women kind of move on, they say, oh, I really love the person, but I had to follow my truth, or, you know, I had to follow my heart, and, you know, I wanted to find love again. And they could easily move on within months, not within years. It's like we have very different versions of commitment and love and honor. Quasimandias, nicely said, a healthier woman is more carnal, less spiritual, wholly grounded in a manner that most men would fear. I meet them in the native communities on my coast, for rich girls, it's different. Yeah. Men ignore this. They meet a pretty girl, she's shiny, but she sometimes is a spoiled rich brat. She comes off as a Kim Kardashian or a Paris Hilton, someone who was born into wealth and entitlement. And it's like visiting Paris, a glitzy city, or New York, and it's like, wow, this person's amazing. I want to spend time with them or in them. Just like you want to spend time in Paris. But you can't live there. You got to recognize who you are. As Quaz said, his community, he recognizes what his tribe is, the kind of people he can relate to. He knows what's simpatico with him and his nature. Just because you see a beautiful Ferrari drive down past you on the road, you could admire it, but it's like, that's not me, man. Or especially, it's not the life I'd be needing to slave over to get that. And then I'd sit in it and I'm saying, what do I spend my life doing this for? In the same way a lot of guys get with women, they marry them and have kids, and ostensibly they're sitting in a Ferrari in a big mansion where they'd rather be someone like Ozymandias on a boat. And they go, what do I do with my life? Find out who you are, gentlemen, and then associate with like-minded people. Don't worry about getting a girl. If you want to, only care about getting the girl that matches with you. Or don't get anyone at all. Just be around like-minded people, people that fit with you. And I know it's hard sometimes with you guys, especially if you're lonely, especially during these times of lockdown. Southern Soul, where he's commenting on when I relayed the story about that girl I went on a date with. How she said, "The universe put me here. WTF, demented non-logic. So if you're being murdered, you wouldn't scream because the universe has allowed it." Yeah, exactly. You've got no agency. The man forced himself on me. What, did you leave? No, the universe obviously put me there, so I had to just take it. Dirk, do you think women are inherently lazy or slothful? I think men are expected to be less so that's why men aren't. But there are industrious women, but there's not much reason for a woman to be non-lazy or non-slothful. The more things are handed to them, the more things are excused. I think generally men aren't as lazy as women, but it's also because we don't get anything unless we work for it. We don't even get a girl unless we approach them. So men are encouraged not to be lazy, and then we got a lot out of life for not being lazy. A lot of times now you see a lot of guys just giving up and just sitting still. And fair enough, you can be as lazy as the lazy woman out there, lazy women out there, but then again, your life gets the consequences of that. Like, I've gotten a lot of good things out of... Here's a saying I want you guys to remember. Do what's difficult and life is easy. Do what's easy and life is difficult. That's why, for a lot of women that don't want to cooperate with men, their life is difficult right now. Do what's difficult. I'm not saying work a crap job or whatever. You know what I mean. Don't be lazy. Do what's difficult, your life will be better. Do the necessary difficult things that you know you should and want to do. General Veers, shut off power, reduce male population, outlaws sales of cosmetics, shock them into survival reality. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, General Veers. Somehow I don't think they'll do that. Women lubricate the financial system too much. That's why gynocentrism is in charge. The male system is an efficient one that doesn't spend more than it needs, it saves, that looks out for its family. You know, the man will save money rather than buying the Ferrari. he will buy a sensible car because his family needs X, Y, and Z and food on the table. Women are more likely to buy the Ferrari and have 10 credit cards maxed out and things like that. The current system needs chaos to function. That's why the female mind is in charge. A male mind is more geared towards efficiency because it's more expected to be responsible. Again, I mentioned there's nothing beyond the man. He has to be responsible or he's homeless. Yeah, Abe, the universe told me to divorce you. It does that to 70% of women. The worst is when I hear women say, yeah, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It's just a load of baffle gab. Modern sort of female-directed pop spirituality. Just do whatever you feel, and then here's a nice glib phrase that'll make you feel not shamed. Ken, thank you for the donation. He says, her love is conditional. Women simply aren't wired to love as we know it. You are ultimately disposable if you stop providing whatever benefit she expects from you. Never go 100%. Give it best 50. Yeah, I've always said. I've even said it openly to girls. I said, like, I promise you'll get 50% of me. And they'll go, I want 100%. It's like, no, I get 50% as well. Isn't 50 enough? No, but I want 100. I'll give you 100. It's like, no, I don't want 100 from you. I want 50. I want you whole, and I want to be whole. I want to be able to give to the world and people around me. I want to be able to give to you. If I give you everything, I'm empty. See what a woman says when you said I'll give you 50%. I don't give. I usually don't give more than like 30 to 40% of the world parts of me. But with you, at the best times when I can, I will give you as much close to 50% as I can. But I need 50% for myself. Is that okay? And when women say, well, no, I want 100, that romantic ideal, it's like, no, find another sucker. Find someone else you can scoop out and throw away, not me. Jones 227. I play both instruments, so I'm confused. Oh, good for you. You play both piano and guitar. I like both. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick piano. Slightly above guitar. But guitar gets the chicks, so that's why Quasimandias gets the chicks. Mr. Highway, piano is a percussion instrument. True, but it's making sounds through the strings. So, like, is there really I suppose there is slightly, people who know harmonics, striking a string to get a sound compared to plucking a string to get a sound. Is there much of a difference to the untrained eye? Because I've seen people tune pianos where they're kind of going ding, 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 like plucking it. And they're also doing this. So, I don't know. I'm pretending to ruminate over something I don't know much about. Marks the Fair. Can women ever be man's best friend? I don't know. I've got a best friend who's a female. And I've had her all my life. She's my best female friend. I can say that. Dynamite Rabbit says, nowadays musicians who play actual instruments are the exception. He says in quotes, okay computer, let's do some 4x4 blues in C. True. Look, I'm guilty. I create all my music on computer. But if I had the time, which I don't, it would be nice to learn to play an instrument in the same way I'd like to learn another language possibly too, but instrument before language, because another language would be pretty useless to me. I can't see how I'd use it, but I would enjoy learning an instrument more than learning another language, I think. Damra. As a guitarist, I find it to be a much more expressive instrument when you add vibrato and dynamics to your playing. It is way more interesting than piano. Yeah, you can, but you can't. Don't forget, you can't add those effects to a piano, or not as readily. It doesn't sound like a piano. Whereas I think, especially with electric guitar and even with acoustics now, like guitars come a long way. There's a lot more to guitar. I can understand. There's a lot more direct sexuality connected with guitar playing than piano. Piano can be seen as very basic and clinical, but you listen to some music, especially sad songs, to get to the emotion. I've heard much more on the side of piano that can connect with the emotion of sadness than I can with guitar. But guitar touches on very different parts. Again, I like both of them for different reasons and different songs, and can do different things better than the other. A lot of guitar comments. Quasi-Mandai should be answering these. I have no idea, man. Yeah, Donna, are we out of lockdown at the moment? I thought we'd still have to wear masks outside. That's about the only thing left. But I heard after this weekend, it's all gone, like back to normal. Because as of yesterday, we still had to wear masks. So if we don't anymore, thankfully, I don't have to. I can walk anywhere and do anything without having to worry about masks. Some great questions, guys. I haven't even got to any of the screen comments from... Okay, big jump. Here we go. Anthony, do you think relationships are degenerating, or are we just in flux between two states? Bit of both, I don't know. Relationships are degenerating. I think I sort of mentioned. I think it's... People are more comfortable with hookups because less to be fearful about. It's short term. You don't have to invest as much. You don't have to show your vulnerability. You can put on a mask. It's like playing dress ups. It's like going to fancy dress. You put on that mask, you go there, you play, you leave, and you go back to your real life in your tracksuits. General Veers, thank you for the donation. The Emperor Commodus wanted to be a gladiator. Why? Because he actually saw what people respected, I suppose. In the movie Gladiator, I suppose people respected Maximus, not him. I mean, people in power, like, they don't last long as long as if they don't have some form of perception. And him, even Commodus, kind of, he was sly. He wasn't stupid. He was just a snake, and he could actually see how people. He couldn't control people as well as and as effortlessly as Maximus did, because people respect honor much more than someone promising you something and then chopping your head off. Grey Walker, I like Spetsnaz's sign-off. What's Spetsnaz's sign-off? I can't remember. I know his intro. Dynamite Rabbit, thank you for the donation. Oh, he says, I know you're not Spets. That was a joke. Oh, okay. But, like, whether you were or not, like, I just know there's a lot of people that genuinely think under my videos saying, is this Spetsnaz? With a question mark. There's a lot of people, so maybe they're joking, but a lot of people have said it. I don't know if Spetsnaz gets the same thing under his videos. He hasn't told me. I don't think so. Spetsnaz says, I'm the Tony Clifton to humans, Andy Kaufman. Or vice versa. I don't know. Mark's the fear. Can you talk about balding and when it started, knowing it first affected you? I actually always wanted to shave my head, but when I was young, I was really thin. I tried a few times, but I looked like I was sick and I had cancer. But when I started to sort of get older and my hairline started to recede in my 30s, and I started to fill out a bit more, and I try and I go, oh, great, it looks like it's getting close. Like, I would rather just shave my head off and be done with all the kind of insecurity of like, oh no, I can see it receding a little bit. So I always wanted to shave my head. I was tired of all the maintenance. So it never affected me like I hear a lot of guys. I had a friend in the past who went and got, had implants done and hair growth stuff and all that. And I just thought, what a waste. I always thought it was fairly masculine when you got older to sort of just shave your head. If you wanted to grow a beard, not give an F. That to me was kind of confidence and reality. Like, yeah, my hair's receding. I don't have a good head of hair. Because when you got a good head of hair, you keep it neat and it's uniform. When you start receding, the kind of the look is non-uniform and it looks stupid. It looks like you're trying to start to cover it up. There are some guys that recede and you can see they confidently still slick it back and they don't care about the recession. I always wanted to shave my head. I think guys trying to hide their baldness. And again, they can't help it. There's something in them that really is attached to their hair. And women like guys with full heads of hair. It makes guys look younger, I suppose. I don't know. General Veers, can women detect your testosterone level? Probably. Unconsciously. I don't know. It's like saying, what do women think? I don't know. KG Jung, if you plan to have a family, that is what marriage is for. Otherwise, it doesn't serve much purpose. Yeah, I agree. Touch and scent of a woman, a girlfriend can do that. That's true, but he was asking what's the benefit of marriage? Like, the same benefit of the girlfriend. That's about the only thing I can think of. If you want kids, though, that's a different matter. Chanel. Thank you for the donation. How do you respond to the idea that men use women for sex, as in different women being a vehicle for men's release, while a woman would generally like the specific man and give sex with more profound meaning? Thank you. Yeah, men are sexually driven, but the comment is like, oh, men can't complain that women want them for their money. Because men want women for their sex or beauty, but at least women's beauty or sex is part of them. It is something that's part of you uniquely that we want you specifically for. But when if a man and woman do fall in love, it's very rarely that a man will leave. There's the old cliche of in the past, and I'm not saying it was right or wrong, where men would have mistresses, but they wouldn't leave their mistresses for he wouldn't leave their wife for their mistress. There's the cliche of women who do have affairs with married men, and they always say they're disappointed because, he said he was going to leave his wife for me, and he rarely does. Once a man's in love, it takes a lot for him to leave. So yeah, he might be, that's the bait that gets a man, but with that bait, if a woman can treat a man right and if she's a decent person, it's very rare that he'll leave for no reason, especially if the woman baits a man that she's judging as a good person. The values that women say they want, the nice guy, the this, the that, the personality, but at the end of the day, they don't really care about, they go for the emotions. So the sex is the bait, but once you get the man and there's something behind the bait, whereas a woman, that's what guys find a bit disappointing, not a bit, a lot, where they say,
money and resources and everything that's not really part of a man isn't important, and a man believes it, then afterwards it's kind of like you break up for the reason, all those reasons that she said wasn't important, but in fact are. When you say while a woman would genuinely like the specific man and give sex with more profound meaning, sure, but she likes the specific man only after the gatekeeper of he's a good protector, provider, whatever. So the gatekeeper for us is wanting your body and to touch you, the touch, the sex and all that, but that's part of you. It's not like we can have it with anyone. We specifically want it with you. All other women fade away, like you're the person we want, and it's part of you. And then after that, we get locked in and falling in love with everything after that, if you do have a good personality. This is why men can tend to break up shortly afterwards if it was an act. You only baited the man with what he wanted to see, but your real personality, you didn't care about being kind, you weren't really a nice person, you just wanted him locked in. But if you genuinely work on your own personality, you can bait a man with sex initially, just like a woman will be baited with, new pair of shoes, shiny red car. But if you have your brain switched on, you look for more than that. I hope I answered that question. General Veers, thanks for the donation again, man. Old women in nursing homes talk about their kids, not husbands. Yeah. Women will die for their kids, not their husbands. Because a woman, her kid is her blood. It's more a direct connection to her. A woman's very self-referential. A kid is part of her. A kid is part of her. Dina says, at what age did you start to lose desire for women? I'm 27 and I'm still nuts about them physically, of course. Yeah, I think mine started to wane in my 30s. Probably mid-30s. Different for everyone. It's in your 20s, it's very hard. You're basically an addict trying to get clean while everyone's giving away, throwing cocaine at you and telling you it's free. And then after you snort it, then they say, 10 grand, thanks. Dania says, Human, do you write a diary? Yeah, I journal pretty much every day and I write. I get a lot of ideas for my content. I write every day. I think at heart I'm a storyteller, and through those stories I observe life. I see how people interact, because you've got to put people in your stories, and you kind of look at you look for honesty in a good story. And so that's why I find human interaction really interesting. Chris says, Human, do you find it difficult nowadays to find women interesting apart from their physically? Yes. I'm your age and post-red pill I have zero ability to be intrigued or interested in them at all. As I said, I don't chase anymore. There's very little chance it's going to happen because I don't put it in any near as much effort as I used to, and women basically aren't interested unless you chase. So it is what it is. General Veers, thank you again for the donation. Again, I have a house filled with canned goods. Are you in the US? Are you guys preparing for... someone told me last night in the chat what's about to happen. Wombat, Human, men are totally the romantics, but why is it that women love romantic movies and we hate them? Remember Armageddon? Yeah, when men sacrifice, that's there. Like Armageddon and Titanic, when men die for women, it's kind of... It says a lot about a woman's character. Oh, he died for me. That's the height of love. Whereas for us, it's an atrocious thing to think about. Like, no. My woman is the last person I want to die. My woman and my children. I want the whole planet to die, not my woman. Whereas a woman would want her man to die, and then secondarily like the rest of the world. Women's brains are very, very different. What does it say about a person where they know without a doubt that you love them to the heights to which you would actually die for them? I can't think, I wouldn't even, like, I find it awful to think that like I'd want or feel tingles at my woman dying for me. It's like, no, I don't want her. I'd rather the world die. Yeah. Recognize how different women are in the way they see things that are important. Love, commitment, honor. Meaning what you say, the meaning of words. Values, ethics. Jake, thank you for the donation. Human, I've been Red Pill for a while. Just found out about your channel. I like your philosophical approach to the Red Pill. Thanks for your content. Thanks for the words and the donation, Jake. I appreciate it. General Viz again. Thanks for the donation. Put a dog or cat in the mic. Oh, come on, man. Don't try and get me blocked. I haven't even got to some of the comments from the videos. You guys have got a lot of questions and a lot of nice comments. Jake, thank you for the donation. He says women are lazy because there are tons of assistance programs for women. Women are married to the government, not a man. Man, US OnlyFans, seeking cam, etc. Yeah. The best men are the biggest men with the biggest status, and there's no bigger one than the government. And if every woman can share the one man of the government, they don't care. Just like the harems of the past. That's where all the cash... And also, a woman gets her independent. I understand that the allure of being free and independent, using your money where you want, sleeping with whoever you want, not being committed, being free and single, I get it. But at the same time, if you really want kids in a relationship, but at the same time you're operating in a really transient way, you're not going to get it. I can't be pumping and dumping women and then bemoaning why no, I can't find a serious relationship where a woman wants to commit, where I'm not actually operating in that way. Ricardo, how do we take back control of our typical male role in society? How do we reverse feminism in our society? Starts by you, in your life, with your family, friends. Speak up, learn how to speak, and voice what you think is important. And hopefully the more men do that, the better, and it spreads. But you can't change that's where people lose a lot of energy, trying to fight the government, trying to fight things that are much bigger than them. Ooh. General Veers, message retracted. Human is reading comments from 10 minutes ago. I'll try and hurry up, guys. Human, is your cup empty again? No. I've got 2 cups that are the same. I drank my mocha, and now I'm drinking some tea to wash it down. Jacob, thank you for the donation. My first love left me for another guy. Within a week of breakup, I went from making minimum wage to 125k as a 25-year-old. I find myself not falling for women, but they seem to like me now because of dollars. I feel lonelier than ever. Yeah, it's a sad thing when the mask comes off and you see why they love you. The frustrating thing for men is, I think if women were just more honest about why they love, because when women ask men like, you like her because of her big boobs, or you like how I look, my body and stuff, and you'll be like, oh, of course I do, but I like this too. We don't negate why we like you, even if it is superficial. But women will completely negate, like, they'll be like the simpy guy that'll, you'll notice a gorgeous woman with fake boobs and like she's just very sexually alluring. You're with your girlfriend and she goes, "You don't like that, do you?" And you'll lie. I think guys do that. Women do that. That's the thing that guys find frustrating. I've just gotten an error on my YouTube thing. Guys, let me know if something's gone wrong. What's going on? Okay, guys, let me know if the stream... I suppose you can't. It's telling me the stream stopped. Yeah, I've still got internet access. Okay, okay, it looks like we're back. It dropped out for some reason. I don't know why, guys. Anyway, Jake says, thank you for the donation. Learn to embrace the loneliness. A woman cannot fill the void. You have to fill it in hobbies and an interesting life. No feminine chaos in life. Peace, quiet, and freedom and dollars. Yep. General Viz, thank you for the donation. I don't know who Gina Lukenkemper is. Mr. Highway, thank you for the donation. He says, if I saw me in real life, you would think I'm a Chad. I have a bodybuilder's physique, do martial arts, and a former Marine. When gurus claim your problems will be solved by being an alpha bro, they're lying. Yes. I think this is something guys who do sports, train, have been involved in masculine pursuits, are a bit more self-confident, they're intelligent. They can actually see scammers scamming people beneath them who are weaker, who need more help. Okay, I think I've caught up. Can you guys just comment, one or two of you? Can you guys see and hear me? Is the stream still up? Because it dropped out for a little while before. Okay, no interruption here. So it dropped out for me. The screen went blank and said no data. Seems like it's fine for you guys. Stream is good. Okay. No error. Okay. Let's do one or two comments. I think I've answered most of the questions. If not, come back and shoot them to me again, guys. Nashi said, just throw money at the problem, it will go away. The more problems she has, the more money she needs. This is from the video, Why Women Love Men with Money. And then there was also from Yvonne. See, this is one I wanted to include from a woman. This is what women don't see. She says, this might be a reason, but I'm afraid it is even more simple than that. If a man spends money on a woman, she feels loved, period. Second, she wants to show off to her girlfriends, competition among women. Fine. Okay, it really is that simple. Perhaps, but okay. But then she goes, before you start now bashing into the primitive women, be really, really honest with yourself. Don't you also want a young and very attractive girl or woman to show off to your other men? Only a little bit? Voila, there we go. Not exactly voila. We still like a woman because of who she physically is. It's part of her. So when a man spends money, money's not him. She doesn't like him. What she shows off is, look how much resources, look how hard this man works for me, look how special I am, girls, compared to you. We show off, look at this beautiful person I've got. look at this woman who's attractive that I only have. Not anything she did for me. I just am with this person. So it's not voila. It's not, and a lot of these pickup artists say, men like women for their bodies, women like men for their money. It's a fair exchange. It's not. Women pretend that they don't like our money. We don't pretend that we don't appreciate their beauty. We tell them they're beautiful. We like their beauty. They know we appreciate them for their beauty. We want their bodies, their beauty. It's the lie of telling us that you want men not for money and material gains, but you really do. That's the thing that men don't appreciate. Sorry. Okay, the stream seems to have stopped. I think I'm still live. Oh no, it's going. I'll keep going through the questions. Real name's not given. He said, I had a conversation with my dad and uncle. And this is from the video, Why Women Love Men with Money. I had a conversation with my dad and uncle. They bemoaned marriage, told me I couldn't win, then expected me to play the game. Yeah, a lot of married people will tell you to do it anyway. Their reason, so I would be as miserable as they are. Yeah, they joke about it. Their definition of compromise was yes, dear, and learn how to let a woman's word go in one ear, out the other. Yeah. John V, for the same video, Why Women Love Men with Money, says, if I had $100 for every date I didn't go on. Oh, wait, I do. Michael, on the video on hookup culture, he said, couldn't have said it better. Even people looking for a pet now are acting like they are buying a toaster with a warranty. This is especially how women shop for a man. As a man, it's ridiculous. Yeah. The lack of seeing the human being is what's disappointing, because a relationship should be everything about the human being and cooperating as a human being. Where you find out it's the opposite. You are inhuman. It's depersonalized. That's the betrayal. Paul C. Knowing your boundaries is understanding your virtues. This is about my older video, All or Nothing Love, where I'm sick of women wanting everything. I mentioned it before, where you say, you tell a woman, I'll give you 50%. Is that enough? And she wants 100. She doesn't want anything left for you. She wants to scoop you out. Somehow that's romantic. She wants, not in a literal sense, like you literalists, and you women, like in a figurative, romantic sense. Women want you empty and dead. They want to devour you. They want to consume you whole. And then when there's nothing left, there's nothing left to love. But they've consumed you in their consumption. Don't give a woman more than 50% of you. And nor should you expect a woman to give you more than 50% of her. I'm not saying it shouldn't be a two-way street. Focused says, yeah, we're going to get there were a few nice quotes from writers. He said, worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere, by Glenn Turner. Alonzo says, happiness is intelligent people this is by Hemingway. Happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing I know. That's a quote I like from him. Hemingway is one of my favorite writers. He's really good. Here's one from Quasimandias. He said something pretty astute. He's actually been focusing on this topic on his channel, so go check it out. He says, funny thing, I was just thinking the same thing. This is about my video, Is Life Passing You By, a couple of videos ago. The one I did in black and white. He says, in my view, overthinking is a symptom of one afflicted with the unsupported assumption that life is a thing to be discovered. It's best lived as a thing created. I agree. I know for me, when life is not happening, so to speak, I do my best to generate life. I don't wait for life to come to me. I try and create something. I try and do something. I go for a walk. I look for some. I try and animate life when life isn't presenting itself as being animated to me. And with someone with a very similar name, Ozymandias, he left a comment saying, thinking is also a form of living, which I don't know if I completely agree. Thinking is part of living, maybe a precursor to living, or developing ethics by which you can live and test and whatever. But I don't think living is complete. Thinking is completely living, but it's certainly a part of living well if you can think well, because it helps you develop ethics by which you can live well. If that kind of makes sense. All right. Whoa. Okay. I'm talking really fast because I want to get through a lot of these, guys. We've been going for nearly 2.5 hours. It's great that there's so many people on. It's been a really good session, but I'm getting tongue-tied because I want to get through all this. Let's wrap it up. AOS Logs, are you familiar with Plato's allegory of the cave? Yeah, it's a good one. I recommend a lot of people read it to sort of get a sense of. It sort of aligns a lot with matrix theory too. A lot of you guys would be surprised with how much a lot of the old philosophical, mythopoetic stuff speaks to you today, because there's very little of it being discussed in such an in-depth way as it used to be. I highly recommend reading a lot of the classics. All right. Jake, thank you for the donation. He says, what do you think about the huge rise in women making OnlyFans, seeking arrangements, etc.? What happened to strong and independent? Well, that is strong, independent women. When it all comes down to it, post-feminism women have just regressed to their base nature, which is where they hold their power. Not in intellect, not in ingenuity, not in sort of pushing the boundaries of creating and conceptualizing and turning abstract ideas into inventions to further society. Their power is all directed towards their sex, and that's where their power lies. There are exceptions, but there's very few of those women. Just naturally look at women, what women choose with their freedom. When they can do everything, they go to being pros. They go to being streetwalkers. They go to exploiting their sexuality. You know, you're free not to, but cash and prizes, the drugs. So when they tell men, oh, well, can't you just keep it in your pants? Can't you control yourself? Well, can't women control themselves and use their brains? No, apparently they can't. Can't you control yourself and stop eating? Why is the diet industry predominantly, their clientele is females? Oh, it's not that easy, but basically women have shown when they're free to do whatever they want, what are they resorting to? Not forcing them. And women will say, well, all these unfair expectations and men, you know, these body image. No, it's women shaming each other or shaming each other. You don't just want to be a housewife, do you? Look at me making all this money on OnlyFans. So look at the choices women are making with their freedom. When men are completely free, you look at history, with or without women, look at where they spend their free time. They spent their free time, a lot of men pursuing esoteric frontiers that contributed to society, technology, the advancement of where we are. Women contribute to babies and sex, most of them. Sorry. I just look at everything they're producing. It's all just sex. It's all geared towards that. You know, props to the women who don't, but those women are like snow leopards. They're really rare to see. Oh, Donna says no masks anymore. Disaster. Dan has freed us completely now. Ah, cool. Awesome. All right, officially, we're all free of corona here in Australia. Now the rest of the world's experiencing it. All right, guys, I think that's it. Let's wrap it up. It's 2.5 hours. I think that we've had a really good run, and I think I've said enough for today. Yeah, Brad says, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, support and promote Humans channel if you feel like it. I highly encourage you. Let's see if I can get to 100,000 subs. I don't think I'll get there this year, but maybe sometime in January. If things keep progressing, if, you know, they don't change things with the algorithm and they don't decide to sort of do something. And okay, guys, let's wrap it up. Thank you for all the questions and super chats and donations. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. These are getting good. I'm enjoying them more and more. Have a great weekend. Just one quick question. Mighty Five says, Human, what are your thoughts on Barbarossa's latest updates? His past few short vids, basically, he just said that he's fine, and he said he's everything he has to say on MGTOW. Yeah, it's fine. I respect Barbarossa. He's gone his own way. He's done a lot of... He's just said what he had to say. Same as Paul Proteus. I'd love to have him back so I can chat with him and enjoy his videos, and I want to listen to his perspectives. There's very little content out there that speaks to me and that I enjoy learning from. I wish Barbarossa and Paul Proteus would come back, but they said what they had to say and they're living their lives. Good for them. Have a good weekend, everyone. Yeah, enjoy yourselves. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for everything, and bye.